black box concept in economics, while not a foundational school of thought like mercantilism or physiocracy, has a significant presence throughout the history of economic analysis, primarily as a methodological approach to dealing with complex or unobservable phenomena. It's less about a specific set of beliefs and more about how economists choose to model and understand certain parts of the economy. What is a black box? Intuitively, a black box is a system, device, or process whose internal workings are mysterious, unknown, or deliberately ignored. You can observe its inputs and its outputs, and you can understand the relationship between them, but you don't know, or don't care to know, how the inputs are transformed into outputs inside the box. Example: imagine a vending machine. You put in money, input, press a button, and a snack comes out, output. You don't need to understand the gears, circuits, or mechanisms inside the machine to use it effectively. You just need to know the input-output relationship. The black box in the history of economic thought. The concept of the black box has appeared in economics in various forms and for different reasons. 1. Early behavioral assumptions. The consumer, firm as a black box. Intuition. Early economic models, particularly in neoclassical economics, often made strong assumptions about human behavior, e.g., rational utility maximization, profit maximization by firms. However, they didn't necessarily delve into the psychological or sociological processes that led to these behaviors. The human mind or the firm's internal decision-making process was often treated as a black box. Historical context. In the development of utility theory or the theory of the firm, economists focused on how consumers respond to prices and incomes, or how firms respond to costs and revenues, to predict market outcomes. They were less concerned with the why in terms of cognitive processes or organizational structures. Example: in the theory of the firm, traditional models might assume firms maximize profits, but they don't necessarily explore the complex internal dynamics, power struggles, or information flows within the firm that lead to a particular output decision. The firm is seen as a unit that takes inputs, labor, capital, and produces outputs, driven by a simple profit maximization rule. 2. The black box of monetary policy transmission. Intuition. When a central bank changes interest rates or adjusts the money supply, input, the economy eventually responds with changes in inflation, employment, or GDP, output. However, the precise channels through which this happens, the sequence of events, psychological factors, institutional responses, can be incredibly complex and difficult to fully map out. Historical context. Economists have long debated the monetary transmission mechanism. How exactly does a change in the money supply translate into changes in real economic activity? Is it through interest rates, credit availability, wealth effects, exchange rates, or some combination? Different schools of thought, e.g., Keynesians versus monetarists, emphasize different channels, but often, the full intricate process remains somewhat of a black box, even as economists observe the relationship between monetary policy actions and macroeconomic outcomes. 3. Methodological instrumentalism, Milton Friedman. Intuition. Some economists, most notably Nobel laureate Milton Friedman, argued that the realism of assumptions in an economic model is less important than its predictive power. If a model, despite having unrealistic or simplified assumptions about internal workings, a black box, can accurately predict outcomes, then it is a useful model. Historical context. Friedman's essay, The Methodology of Positive Economics, 1953, was highly influential. He contended that economics should be judged on its ability to make accurate predictions about observable phenomena, not on whether its underlying assumptions perfectly mirror reality. This approach encourages treating parts of the economy as black boxes if it helps in building predictive models. Criticism. Critics of this instrumentalist view argue that it reduces economics to mere prediction without true understanding. If you don't understand why a model predicts what it does, i.e., what's inside the black box, then it's harder to adapt the model when conditions change or to derive meaningful policy implications. 4. Rise of behavioral economics and institutional economics, opening the black box. Intuition. Over time, many economists felt that treating fundamental units, like individuals or firms, as black boxes was limiting. To truly understand economic phenomena, they argued, one must look inside the box. Historical context. Behavioral economics, this field, gaining prominence in the late 20th and 21st centuries, explicitly aims to open the black box of human decision-making. It integrates insights from psychology to understand how cognitive biases, emotions, and heuristics influence economic choices, moving beyond the simple, rational agent assumption. New institutional economics, (NE), pioneered by economists like Ronald Coase and Oliver E. Williamson, a Nobel laureate who explicitly spoke of opening the black box of the firm. NE sought to understand the internal structure of organizations, the role of transaction costs, and how institutions, rules, norms, shape economic behavior. Instead of just seeing a firm as an input-output machine, NE looked at contracts, governance structures, and internal decision-making processes. 5. Modern applications, algorithmic trading and AI in finance. Intuition. Today, many sophisticated financial models, especially those used in algorithmic trading and powered by artificial intelligence or machine learning, operate as black boxes. They take vast amounts of market data, inputs, and generate buy, sell signals, outputs, based on complex algorithms that are often too intricate for humans to fully comprehend or debug. Historical context. While the concept of a black box has older roots, its practical application in complex, opaque systems has exploded with the advent of powerful computing and AI. This has led to renewed discussions about the risks and benefits of relying on black box models, especially in high-stakes fields like finance, where transparency and accountability can be crucial. Conclusion. The black box concept in the history of economic thought reflects a recurring tension between parsimony, predictive power, and explanatory depth, realism. Sometimes, treating a system as a black box is a pragmatic necessity when its internal workings are too complex or unknown, allowing economists to still build useful models based on observable relationships. At other times, economists consciously choose to open the black box, delving into the underlying mechanisms, e.g., psychological processes, organizational structures, institutional rules, to gain a richer and more complete understanding of economic phenomena. The history of economics is, in many ways, a continuous process of both utilizing black box approaches for certain analytical tasks and, concurrently, striving to open other black boxes to reveal the hidden complexities within.